Okay, folks, welcome back. Welcome back to working on the Disgustang. It actually doesn't look very disgusting right now. And I don't know that it's ever going to look, like, ooh, gross. It's just, it's a bright ass fucking color. Inspired by a post I saw yesterday on the internet. It also didn't look disgusting either. It was just kind of a fun comment. Well, regardless, I thought it was cute. So, where's the because it's down there. Gotcha. All right, let's cut off a piece of this cardboard, and we'll talk about what we've done differently on this one that we may decide to do it this way moving forward. At the risk of dulling this, the hell with it. Didn't go all the way through. This is probably one of the best decisions I did, is just start using pieces of cardboard boxes. It doesn't have to be very big. We're getting some on here, but it's not. I don't care what you cover this with. There's always little dots that appear here. We'll have to give this a good cleaning in a few weeks or something like that. We just need some more. We're going to give this a wash. Now, what we did differently with this vehicle is before I went to bed, I gave this thing a clear coat, and I decided to use, wait for it, a rattle can. And the only thing I've been unhappy with using an airbrush has been the adherence of the acrylic clear coat, not at the end, but in the middle of the process, or even at the beginning of the process, to adhere to the actual car and allow the wash to get taken over it and not dismantle that clear coat. So we decided to use a spray can, and it actually behaved okay, and it wasn't too stinky. And that's where we're going to move forward. And if this works great, that's probably what I'm going to do from now on. Probably not as the final clear coat, okay, but as the one that I'm going to put the brown wash on top of it. And the reason why is there's just two, the wash is, good morning, Jeffrey. The wash is watered down by nature. And the wash is applied relatively soon after I clear coat it. I mean, I'm already working on multiple cars at once. We don't need to triple that number by, having a wait time. So I think I think this is the route I'm going to take if this works out okay. So anyhow, it's been clear coated in an enamel lacquer, whatever the hell it is. Okay. And we're going to do a wash on top of it. But before I do that, I need to, no, let's go ahead and give it a brown wash now. Let that start drying. We're going to use strong tone, try to find one that doesn't have a lot in it. And we'll need to do an inventory. I got 2 new dark tones and 1 started. Okay, let's put these up here in the reserve area. And don't fall the fuck down. Light tone, mid tone. There's another strong tone. Looks like I got 2. Soft tone. Okay, I got 3. I don't need to buy any of that today. I'm going to attempt to go to the store and get new soft tone, light tone, and the mid browns, because they're petering out. Now, what I definitely don't want to do is, in the process of painting vehicles or anything, is to add 2 enamel coats, because they'll react with each other. I found that out, unfortunately, the hard way. It wasn't the end of the world. It's one of the few mistakes that I've made, wait for it, that I haven't been able to fix, that I literally had to start over. And that's when I was making a coastline for DVA. I'd used a piece of plexiglass that was clear, because I had it, and I spray painted it with black enamel, to start from scratch. Imagine painting that by acrylic. That would take forever. I let that dry. I painted a waterline using craft paint. It looked gorgeous, considering how long it took. I really liked the way it turned out. And let that dry, and then clear coated it. Because I paint relatively thin, the clear coat of enamel woke up the black underneath the thin layer of acrylic and made it crinkle, and the stuff between it was damaged, so I had to start over. So I only want to use one layer of acrylic of enamel. That way you don't have that, and acrylic doesn't really react that way. Now, if I use an acrylic clear coat on this, which is what I've been using, and I put this wash on it, if I scrub on it too much, the clear coat will lift up a little bit. It's not the end of the world. It's just annoying to see, man, I put some care into this, and it's all going to shit. And I'm going to try to prevent that going forward. So, we're going to clear coat this, most of the body, in brown, in this brown wash. Relatively new paint there. Let's see if we can find and the brush invasion here. You've heard of the British invasion. This is the brush invasion. Everything ends up over here on the right. I'm excruciatingly right-handed. Devastatingly right-handed. So everything ends up over here. I'll put something not to spill on it, put it over on this side. Alright, let's get this away. We don't need the readers when we don't have our contacts in. Alright. Yeah, there's not much here. It's just annoying. And we're going to let this dry a little bit. We'll have to let this dry a little bit. And then while we do that, it shouldn't take long, 15 minutes, something like that. We'll start designing the next vehicle, whatever it might be. Decide what the next vehicle is and design it. All right. That's the only reason I have to hop around. I'd rather not hop around, but it's either that or okay, folks, we'll see you in 30 minutes kind of thing, All right, I think that, these brushes. Let's use this one right. Let's use this one. Yeah, let's use this one right there. But I don't really like that. I like to start something and then finish that. And then go to something else and then finish that. When I was painting DBA figures, I don't think I hopped around on figures. I don't think I did. I mean, unless there was I needed to paint knights and drill out the hands and put, a pit, and then while that's drying, I'm working on something else. But painting wise, it's all acrylic. It's one thing on top of another on top of another. Okay, move on. Move to something else. All right, let's get a tone that we like here. Now I don't want this super heavy because I do want this color to shine through. And even though we added a matte, it's behaving like it's a little oily for adherence. I don't think it's a problem. It's just something to consider. But The other way I was doing it just wasn't wasn't satisfying. It wasn't working. I mean, everything turned out fine. It's annoying to be like, oh man, some of it's coming off down there, kind of thing. Just giving it some modulate. I shouldn't call it modulation. I should call it variance. Giving it some variance in tone. Tone value. I know what the difference. I just don't know how to call it the same thing. And my confusionary vocabulary. Okay. Let's rinse this thing out. Not an expensive brush, but we got to take care of some brushes. Now, one thing I considered is this truck right here. Now, this truck right here, which I think will turn out great, especially in this base color, I don't have a dragster. Now, the reason I don't have a dragster is the dragster plays like ass. I just don't see how it is viable, especially the more obstructions you have on the board. It's like lima bean color. Let's call this Lima Truck for now. It's not going to be the final name, but at least when I look at it, I know what the hell I'm talking about. If I decided to make this a dragster, let's see what it entails. And it looks like it would be a dragster with that, it's perpetual nitros. I mean, there's nothing that has an engine as big as that. It even says it's equipped with a jet engine. Nitro's equipped with a jet engine. Well, there it is. So, let's go to the rules and see if that's even a viable scenario for this vehicle. So we're going to go all the way to the back. Okay, if we call this a drag racer, it has a hull of only 4. That's extremely low. However, it has 2 build slots and a cost of only 5. That's really cheap. Handling of 4, honestly, it doesn't look like it should be able to handle at 4. Max gear 6. All right, let's write some of this stuff down. See if we can make a viable build for something that's just not like a lawn dart. Lightweight. No. There's no way in hell that's ever going to be lightweight. Even if I use the perk of tough, well, let's just try it. Let's just try it. Okay. Lightweight. It's lightweight. It has gear 6, handling 4. It's lightweight, crew 1, 2 build slots. It's 5 points, and it has 2 build slots. Okay, first thing we have to do, it can't be lightweight. So, it really looks like it should be a heavy truck, but the problem with a heavy truck is it has 5 build slots. Like, where the fuck are you going to put things on here? And it has a crew of 4. Where are they going to sit? So, like, that doesn't fit the look of it. You know, the build needs to match the look for the most part. That looks more like a dragster than it looks like a heavy truck with a crew of 4. You know what I mean? Unless it's midgets. So, let's go over here to the perks. And let's start at the beginning. And let's drive some perks that could potentially apply to this. Because that has very few points. It starts at 5. And we're not going to make it any smaller than 27 with something this big. Okay? It only has 4 damage. Okay, Battle Hammer, Grinder Man, Terrifying Lunatic, Murder Tractor. I could totally see this having a Murder Tractor, although I don't want to block the engine fan exhaust. That's like a unique part of the vehicle, and you need it to be able to suck up the oxygen to be able to blow it out the back end. And I don't really know what's going on here because it's soaking it up the front, and it's going to have exhaust off the top and exhaust off the rear. I mean, maybe this is like the regular drive, and then when you hit the nitro, the perpetual nitro, it's back here, even though it's facing up. So wouldn't that, like, I don't know. Powder keg. This vehicle may add 1 to its explosion check. Treat this vehicle as 1 weight class heavier when it explodes. Okay. I could see that being a powder keg. Okay, there's fuel and shit in here. So I'm going to go down here and put powder keg. It only uses up 1 point. Okay? Cover me, Madman, Bullet Time, Built. Dead weight, 2 cans. During this vehicle's attack step, this vehicle may gain 2 hazard tokens to count as 1 weight class heavier, unless already heavyweight, until the start of its next activation. Okay, so that's how we get this thing to be at least medium weight. I think I need to put that on there. I think we need to put dead weight on it. A barrel roll, nah. Bruiser, maybe, but not there yet. Splashback, Neck Crusher, Feel No Pain. Daring, Slippery, Handbrake Artist, Evasive, Power Slide, Stunt Driver. Horror stuff is fucking useless. At least in The way I'm playing is I don't have a horror team per se. Could be lightweight if made from carbon fiber and aluminum. Also explains the low damage. I don't think you'd go with this body style if it was made out of carbon fiber. Aluminum, sure. Well, the reality is I can make it whatever the hell I want. I'd like to stay with the parameters of the rules. That's my check and balances, right? Like I want executive power, but somebody has to check it. I'd like to. Because I'd probably give this like it takes 10 damage. But the problem with the jet engine is it's gonna fire off every turn, no matter what I do, no matter what it does. Deadeye loader, fully loaded. Nope, rapid fire. These are all shooty things. Precisions, moment of glory. For skid dice, this vehicle may immediately change any number of skid dice to any results they choose. That's once per game. So that would be handy the first turn it comes across. But then that's it. Restraint. When this vehicle would gain a hazard token for shifting down the gear, this vehicle may remove one hazard token instead. Okay, that might actually be helpful. Restraint. Expertise adds 1 to its handling value. Well, that's all well and good, but trick driving could come in handy. This vehicle may select a movement template as if its current gear was 1 higher or 1 lower. Put a question mark. I'd rather not have a shitload of these perks because then it turns into flavors of other vehicles. Let's just kind of look at it and see if this is even a viable option. A viable option. If not, we'll remove this damn jet engine, like so, and then we have a base vehicle for something else that's cool. I'm just seeing if it's if this works. I'm not one that's like, hey, let's make it look like this. Oh, man, it looks badass. What skills is it going to have? Well, it doesn't really matter. No, it's got to look like it is. It's not going to be confusing. Like, okay, remember that thing that has the, it's like if you're doing a spreadsheet and you write things in red. Things in red are a problem or catch your attention. I just ignore the things in red. I can't. They're in red. On your tail, no. Schadenfreude, no. Taunt, no. I mean, no, like, to give the initial flavor of this. Taunt, outrun, pit, unnerving eye contact, reckless. In for a penny. It's not going to work because of the way that the nitro works. Don't come knocking. At the start of this vehicle's activation, it may gain 4 hazard tokens. If it does, this vehicle cannot gain or lose any hazard tokens by any means until the start of its next activation. Okay. Don't come knocking. And I'm not going to add all these things on here. I'm just putting viable things on here. We need to see how that works with the nitro. Okay? I'm going to screenshot that so I could find that. Bigger new. If this vehicle is involved in a collision, double any smash attack bonuses or penalties resulting from weight differences Not going to be helpful because it's going to be on the low end of the weight scale. Speed. It certainly doesn't need hot start. Slipstream, overload. Downshift. At the end of a movement step in which this vehicle changed down one or more gears, this vehicle may make a forced move short, straightforward. We don't need more forced, straightforward moves with a dragster, for God's sake. It's different if we're on the salt flats. There's going to be some terrain. Time extended. At the end of a movement step in which this vehicle passes a race gate, this vehicle may remove any number of hazard tokens. I don't think that's going to save us because the nitro is going to, at the end of the turn, be up at 5 anyways. Hull for leather, no. Technology, it doesn't have technology. Tuning. Delicate touch. This vehicle ignores the hazard icons on movement templates. Three with a question mark. Momentum. When resolving skid dice, they should be called handling dice, right? If your handling is how many skid dice you use, why don't you just call the skid dice handling dice? I don't really like the nomenclature. Yeah, if I made a set of rules, it probably would make more sense, but maybe not be as good. I mean, the rules are pretty decent. You know, it's just one of those things you have to remember, like, oh, that's right, that means that. This vehicle may set aside a slide or spin result to re-roll a skid dice. I have a feeling this is a vehicle that's actually going to want slides or spins, just so they can turn. Purring. This vehicle does not gain more than one hazard token from spin results each activation. This vehicle does not gain any more than one hazard token from slide results each activation. This vehicle does not gain more than one hazard token from hazard results each activation. Purring, no. Skiing. This vehicle has a handling of 3 or... If this vehicle has a handling of 3 or higher, this vehicle may take 3 hazard tokens at the end of its movement step to be ignored by other No, it's not going to work. The war rig. Okay, we're at the end. All right, let's look at nitro. Let's do a search. Trying to get better at this every time I use it. Okay. Drag racer, jet engine. A vehicle with a jet engine counts as having a nitro booster with infinite ammo tokens. This means this vehicle automatically explodes when it is wrecked. Okay, well, we don't need... powder keg, I think, just makes you one bigger, so I still want to keep that. It's going to be a big explosion. Explodes when it's wrecked. A vehicle with a jet engine must use nitro booster every time it activates. Okay. Well, we knew that. Ah, crap. I backed out one too many. God bless it. Okay. Nitro boosters. See special rules here. The other thing is not make this a dragster, but give it an experimental nuclear engine. Does that look like a nuclear engine? No, but it doesn't matter. It's some experimental heavy duty engine that has a shit ton of power. This upgrade would not be purchased for lightweight vehicles. That's fine. We'd make this a truck, or hell, a heavy truck. Okay? Add 2 to this vehicle's maximum gear up to a maximum of 6. All right, then. So the truck could be, could be relatively fast. This vehicle considers the long straight movement to be permitted in any gear. Okay, we like that. The long straight is not considered either hazardous or trivial in any gear. Still good. And I mean, still good from the standpoint of, okay, that's like a viable option for this thing. Here's where the problems arise. If this vehicle ever fails a flip check, it is immediately wrecked and automatically explodes. When this vehicle explodes, it counts as heavyweight. I'm good with it counting as heavyweight. You fail a flip check. Okay? Or experimental engine. Oh, how much does that fucking cost? Let's see here. Well, I came over here for the nitro booster, which it told me the wrong page. Once per activation, at the start of the movement step, this vehicle may declare that it is using a nitro booster. If it does, the vehicle makes an immediately forced long straight move forward, and then gains hazard tokens until it has at least 5. Then it resolves its movement step as normal. Except the vehicle may not reverse. At the end of the movement step in which this vehicle uses nitro booster, it gains hazard tokens until it has at least 5 hazard tokens. Alright. Let's save that. And let's save that. Okay. I probably should, at this point, probably buy that. Somebody sells a set of like all the little skills. So I can like put them here. I'm not have to look back and forth. I'm eventually learning this stuff, but some of these weird things. Good morning, Ben. Some of these weird type skills that you don't use very often. See, we'll be able to work on that shortly. Like this is just like an exercise that I kind of need to figure out how it's gonna, how it's gonna pace out. I'm concerned about the thing. As soon as it fails a flip check, it's going to explode. So the only way to minimize that it was certainly played different, which I'm a fan for. It looks different. Is to make sure, let's see, what is it? The long straight's permitted in any gear? Well, that's super handy, but you still need to. I'm gonna need to think about that. There's a lot of things to consider. Okay. Back to this guy right here. The Disgustang. Alright, we need to paint the things in green that are going to be green. Alright, this Disgustang green. All those colors, if you ever look at the color codes of what, you go and buy a vehicle, what color codes? Oh, I need the paint match for that. What color is that? Oh, that's ice silver metallic. Or, whatever. That happens to be the color of my car. What it's called. But it always has something, like burnished gold or something like that. This would be Disgustang green. Yellow green from Viejo. I don't know that I've ever used this color. And there's a good reason why I've never used this color. It's useless. Until now. Now we just need to get it close. It's pretty close. Let's get a paintbrush we don't have a love affair with. And let's try using, I need to get Post-it notes too. I like using a little Post-it note for each car. Succinct. All right, I'm going to say something that's going to blow your mind. This color's actually pretty thick. I would have thought this would have been thin as hell, but it's actually a pretty thick color. That's a good thing. Ben, have you gotten sucked into doing any cars? What about you, Jeffrey? That looks a lot better. Now, a lot of it's going to be covered in mud, right? But now, why didn't I do this first before I clear coated it? Because I didn't think it was going to stick very well. I didn't think it was going to stick very well on this. So, not yet. The pulp stuff's taking me away that way. Also, the World War II project hit a snag. What's the snag? My World War II project snag is it's a whole lot of effort to play it. And I don't mind it, but it's like I don't need that effort right now, you know? I need to be like effortless. Safety yellow, I think is what this is called, or something like that. Doing the safety dance. Should be able to finish this morning. Not that we're in a hurry. I mean, we'll get done when we get done, but it's good to accomplish things. If you don't want to accomplish things, why even start? I'm probably being more precise with this than I probably should, but no, your Gasland stuff has all been collected in one place, but it's well down the to-do list. Yeah, that's the one thing I have trouble with. If I say, "Oh, I'll get to this later," the later may never happen. And it's not a big deal. It's not like, look, of all the things you could get involved in that you could spend money on and not do anything with, This is probably the cheapest thing. Hey, look, I got a dozen cars. Woo! You spent a lot of money. You know, like one of my favorite things to do with this is go to the toy section and see what's there. Even if you know you're not going to buy anything, it's just cool to look through them. You can't do that with any of the other hobbies. When I go to the store, let me go see what models they have. They don't have any models. There's nothing to look through. I was actually surprised how quick I found an undercarriage for this vehicle. Well, there's a lot of vehicles I don't want to cannibalize. And the reason I wouldn't want to cannibalize them is they're not really available anymore. This one that I cannibalized the bottom of is one that's relatively available. This Bronco. It's cheaper than buying wheels and stuff. I mean, they sell wheels. I'm like, I'm not gonna spend, $6 on a. Go look and see how much they are on Amazon or eBay. They make all these custom wheels. They're like, yeah, a set of 6 wheels is $6. Like, I'd rather get 6 different cars, cannibalize their wheels. And you got to wait for them to ship them to you, which in Amazon really isn't an issue. They're quick as hell. There's this place where in the early 2000s, no, in the early and mid 90s, we would order from a lot called Brookhurst Hobbies in California, and we used to joke that they would send it to you quicker than we ordered it. But you'd put the order in on Monday morning, and you'd get it on Thursday. You'd have it in hand on Thursday. It's in California, so as long as they had it in stock, they were damn quick. All right, let's see if any of this stuff also needs the green treatment. I suspect this bumper on the back will also need it. So we're going to look for 1982. We just picked 82 as one of the colors, as one of the years. 1982 Ford Mustang rear. Yeah, it looks to be the body color. I'm going to put that little bumper thing on it as a black line across it. That'll have added a little bit more detail to it. But that's going to be the bumper color. What the hell kind of engine do these cars have? 1982 Ford Mustang. All. The 82 Ford Mustang is a milestone model year that marked the true return of a muscle car performance following the fuel crisis of the 70s. Built on the iconic Fox body platform, the 1982 model famously reintroduced the legendary Mustang GT. Well, it has GT on it, okay? After a 13-year hiatus, giving birth to Ford's historic marketing slogan, "The Boss is Back." Okay? Oh, I had a 5-liter V8. Oh my God. It only had 157 horsepower? That is a lot of engine for not a lot of horsepower. While modest today, it was highly impressive for the era and easily outpaced contemporary competitors. It has 157 horsepower and 240 pound-feet of torque. So the torque's actually pretty good, but the horsepower, that's really low. Okay, this is important. The GT look, which this is, according to the sticker. The GT was sold strictly as a hatchback, which it is, and featured a signature monochromatic four-eyed front fascia, adapted from the 1979 pace car, a forward-facing non-functional hood scoop, which it has. And why would they put a hood scoop if it's not functional? Weirdo Americans. Color, functional, hood, non-functional hood scoop and front rear spoilers. Yeah, I'll see what the front one would be, but I guess that's a really small spoiler. Color choices for the GT were strictly limited to black, red, and metallic silver, as opposed to other silvers that aren't metallic. Okay, so obviously this is a repaint, because it's not black or silver. Weighing in at barely 3,000 pounds, the 1982 Mustang was light, nimble, and highly receptive to throttle steering. That where you like gun it to get like, let's see, these cars are rear wheel drive, so they're going to oversteer. So gun it to get a little bit more. That just goes against anything that makes common sense to me. You know? The car was going too fast, so therefore when it turned too sharply, like, I don't understand the dynamics of a rear wheel drive car. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't want one of those things. Okay, okay, back. The snag it hit from the other 3D printers only Skytrex does. 15mm BT5s and BT7s. Even Flames of War are out of production for now. Flames of War has no BT5s or 7s? Weird. Okay? You're concentrating on stuff that I'm actually using or about to use. That makes total sense. Mostly ancient skirmishing for 1 hour war games or preparing stuff already have painted for other rules. You love OHSW. I frequently demo the Zulu scenario. Don't you find that, well, I've never played it, okay? But don't you find that if a rule set is too basic or generic, it dulls your interest in, like, painting the details on figures. Like let's say you're doing Zulus, and you do, because you mentioned it, and you're doing, see, what would be like Zulus? Indians. And I don't mean from the subcontinent. I'm talking about, Indians, Native Americans. You could probably use them in a rule and not be that different from each other. But to me, it'd be like, they could say the same thing about, DVA. Oh, those are just like light infantry. Well, they're the same. Doesn't matter whether they're equipped with, whether they're naked throwing stones or whether they have crossbows. I'm not calling them a PS name. That's dead. It's dead to me. Okay, we're going to need a smaller brush for this to be able to get in there. A more precise one. Yeah. That's the problem that I would have, painting something like, playing something like Bolt Action. Oh, like the Germans and the Americans are kind of the same. Or the Germans and the British are kind of the same. I'm like, it just doesn't motivate me. Maybe that's not important to a lot of people, but I guess I put a lot of effort into making the. I want them to be different, you know. I guess you could say saying this game's pretty freaking generic too, you know. But OHSW uses relatively few miniatures, but oddly uses playing cards. Kind of plays like the old card game War. Well, so I don't mind. I don't mind card-driven games. Here's my problem with card-driven games. I want to roll dice. I don't want to draw a card to see what the effect is. Fuck that. Right? I like to roll dice. If you're scared of rolling dice, we probably won't get along. Now, I have a board game group that I used to go to on Fridays, and they wouldn't play war games. Okay, that's all right. There's some games that they don't have to be war. You know, I don't have to be a dictator every freaking time I'm on my day off, right? But I do like to roll dice. I like chance and things you can't control. And the biggest problem with cards is I hate to shuffle. I hate to shuffle. Oh my god. I'd rather see if I don't back myself in a corner and say an untruth. I'd rather make a bed with the fitted bed sheets. No, I'd rather fold that fitted bed sheet than fucking shuffle cards. And I've watched videos. I absolutely suck at it. And I embrace sucking at shuffling cards. Now, there's probably people that are worse than me, because at least I'm not dog-earing them, right? But I hate shuffling cards. You know, I just don't think that. I just don't think you get a good shuffle. You know, oh well, you know that dice is broken. It's not rolling right. It's a lot. It's a lot more random than those card shuffles. You know, had a good game of OHSW on Monday, set in the Old West using an AI generated scenario. OHSW is more of a sandbox. Any of you guys ever use, speaking of sandbox, any of you guys ever use that computer game, what's it called? Tabletop, virtual tabletop? Well, you know which one I'm talking about. That's supposed to be a sandbox. I can't get around. That's more difficult than going to work. Trying to figure that out. People in Britain playing in Britain playing a gun fighting game. I guess ACW is probably weirder. Just seems like something that wouldn't appeal to a lot of people. I would do Western stuff before I would do American Civil War. I'd do probably just about anything before I do American Civil War. I'd do Mexican-American War before I do American Civil War. You can't shuffle, but the missus shuffles like a Vegas card shark. I mean, I wish I could. You know? I don't dislike the idea of the card. You know? Especially if dice are also involved. Like, I like the cards in concept is okay. Well, that's why I use the chits for things, or the corks for this. It's basically card driven, but I don't have to shuffle anything. That's really the best randomizer. Put things in a bag, shuffle the fuck out of the bag, pull them out. Like, that's better than anything, really. But is it fast? No. But, you know, it's a social. Playing a game should be a social experience. Okay, I don't need a super great covering on this, because this is just going to be weathered like crazy anyways. But I'm going to leave that little gap of black there in the middle because that little bumper thing. Remember, this was a normal vehicle, and then it said like,
You know what'd be good? What? We take them big ass wheels and we put them on that Mustang over there.
you know, and that's how it turned out. It's not like, they're going to design this that way. So this was a viable vehicle that they decided to do that on. So we're going to follow that black line all the way, that little bumper thing, that they put on cars at certain points. You have this little bumper thing, so when you hit something, it doesn't damage your door. And then it's really annoying when you get a dent up here that's not where that little bumper is. Currently working on some English Civil War miniatures for the Pikeman's Lament. Yeah, what exactly does the Pikeman lament? That he doesn't have a pistol? Oh dear me, I've got this long proddy stick and I can't reach anyone. What's that skirmish rule? Have pipe will travel? Isn't there one something like that called like have pipe will travel? I love pikemen, but on a skirmish level, probably not much. It's kind of like the opposite. Like, I like swordsmen, but on an individual level. Like, if you have a whole unit of swordsmen, it's like, oh, we're just not going to make it there. They're going to cut us down. We're going to get cut down by something before we make it to it. Well, I think pikemen look great. As a unit, look great. All right, let's do the back here. Let's make sure we don't botch this up. Probably not important to anybody other than me, but let's go back. Ford Mustang. Okay, let's get this one that has. Okay, that's going to go across this. I am not a Mustang fan, but that doesn't mean I don't, I'm not a Mustang fan from the standpoint of like, I don't want to drive one, but the only Ford car I can think of that, is a reasonably priced vehicle that is really attractive to me was the second generation Ford Probe. It had some good lines on it. Pikes don't fit well inside Mini Coopers. Good morning, Marcus. There you are. You're back. You're currently working on 1 hour War Games inspired rule set, allowing you to use your 1-3000 Spanish-American War and Sino-Japanese collections on a club night. Your pikemen arrived Monday. I stumbled into some great deals. Couldn't pass them up. Well, thanks to Jeffrey, I found out, FOMO. I mean, I knew what FOMO was. I just didn't know that it had a name. I don't usually get affected by FOMO much, unless it's really cheap. And then I'm like, all right, I'm not passing that up. Now, I don't care that, this isn't available anymore. And then I talk myself out of it. But like, this isn't available anymore, and it's $1, like mine. Because the cheap helps. Because if you never do anything with it, at least you didn't spend any money. Sable. What the hell is Sable? What is SABLE? That's not coming up. What does it mean to be a sable? Certainly it's not this definition. Stuff acquired beyond life expectancy. Gotcha. Yeah, I heard that. Just didn't know it had an acronym. FOMO is why you wander the toy aisles not expecting to buy anything. That grail car may be there. Do you have a grail car? I'd say I don't have one, but I do. And I don't want to pay what it goes for. I want a Nissan Skyline with the Godzilla graphics on the side. And they make one. I'm not paying 25 bucks for it. Like, it's not worth that, you know? So I'm looking for one maybe that's damaged. Like, I don't care if they're chipped up. This thing, Marcus, you'll like this. Marcus, you're a year older than me, right? Like exactly a year. Something like that. Yeah, so you got all the same kind of toys and shit that I had. We all kind of had all the same kind of toys and shit. Unless you had parents that were like, oh, he's not allowed to get any tanks because they're violent. But really, in our generation, you know, there weren't that many pussy parents like that. You know, it's like, let them play with toy guns. They don't hurt anything, right? This thing. This is a Matchbox Superfast, not anymore, Plymouth Grand Fury 1979, made in, wait for it, Macau. The other Hong Kong. And this thing is chipped to hell. And I'm going to probably clear coat this. And everywhere there's a chip, I'm going to paint it in dark brown, and we're going to rustify those areas. And this is probably going to be something like a rusted development. It's not, I don't think I want to use development part, but definitely a rusted. So. And this is a vehicle that I had from a kid. Probably got it in Alabama. When we lived in Huntsville. Huntsville! That's how you know somebody's from the South. You know, they say the name of your city. Where do you live? You live in Gainesville? No, I live in Gainesville. Bull. B-U-L. Gainesville. Huntsville. Greenville. (1970s) NUIP. Yeah. Well, it doesn't say. It just says dial 911. I guess that's been around for a while. And that's it. I don't think I'm going to change the tires or nothing on it. It's going to be for my cop team. I don't know who the hell. I don't know what he's going to be. Criminals that used to be cops, or people that, you know, they're not actual cops. Like, what are actual cops going to do when everybody's armed with a minigun? You found it in Cincinnati when we went to the zoo last week. You're 70s vintage. You know, so you're like really close to my age. When people ask you, you know, what are you from? Do you say you're from the 70s? I don't. I say I'm from the 80s because when 1980 turned around, I was 9. So how much of 0 through 9 is my personality? Well, probably some, but I don't remember it. I don't remember that much. I don't remember other people dressed in the 70s with the weird 70s wear that they wore. Big Lee on Miniature Adventures covered sable a few weeks ago. I'm beyond sable capacity. Well, as long as your wife's, not going to divorce you over it. At this point, like, why am I buying cars? I don't know. See something, spend $3. Who cares? They honestly don't take up a lot of space if they can fit in that box. I'm okay with it, It's fun, I get to share them with you guys. If I pull them out, It's entertainment. It's better than having a beer and pissing it away, literally. It's cheaper than any other hobby. You say DBA is really cheap. No, this is cheap. Man, Marcus, have you seen that French guy? What's his name? Ron? All the stuff he's coming out with? He's out of control. I'm not tempted by that. Because as cool as those things are, like, if I snap my fingers and I had them all 3D printed, I'm just not gonna use them right now. So he won't be seeing you in mustard yellow pants and a lime green jacket. Yeah, bad stuff, man. Or the hair. So many people had so much hair in the 70s. Like dudes. Like, man. You watch any show, and so many of the kids on any of the shows had so much hair. It's like, nobody had any fucking ears in the 70s, right? Men had, like, no ears. It was like some kind of a trend that happened in, like, during that time period. It's like, you can't see people's ears, Just weird. And all the kids had bangs. You still acquire stuff, but I measure it if I actually use it. Well, like I said, I went to the dollar store the other day. I went and got a basket, that you could buy for $1. I wasn't going to buy it, but I need something to contain all the things in. And I started loading it with maybes. And then I went through, and that's what I normally do. And then I went through and like, I don't really need this. I don't really need that. Nah, not really, And then you get down to like 3 things. You're like, do I really still want these? Yeah, this will work. And then I walk out with that, But I don't like binge buy. I mean, I'm more than tempted. Gonna put another order in when Chad returns to duty. Yeah, he's got a lawn service or something, right? I think that's what he is. He does like lawn stuff. I saw that Ron made a comment on one of his things that somebody had asked him, would they print out, because it was somebody in the UK. They're like, would this print out in 20? And he was kind of like, almost like, I'm not sure. And I'm like, we've showed you lots of examples where it turns out, I think that depends more on like the who's your 3D printer, But I'm like, I mean, if it was mandated that 20 millimeter could not be done anymore, I'd do 15s. There's no way I'd do 28s. I have no love for 28s. That doesn't mean you're a piece of shit if you do 28s. I'm just saying that that's a step in the wrong direction. And one of the gripes about 28s and people not doing 28s in the past was like, it takes up too much space. I'm sitting there going, well, how much space could it take up? I understand that now. Like, it's a fucking problem, right? If these were like 30% bigger, like, I gotta have a lot less, Is there a Spanish slang term? Now, you gotta remember, well, we'll see what it is. Is there a Spanish slang term for a left-handed person? Un tuerto. I think that's what it is. Let's see. Tuerto in Spanish. Gotta remember, my Spanish is just talking to mom and dad. That's it. It's zero education in school. So I'm like, West Virginia. West Virginia Spanish. No, what those one-eyed? Okay. What do you say? Left-handed? Izquierdita. Leftist. Left-handed in Spanish. Zurdo. Zurdo. Yeah, now that I see it, I can see it. If it's a dude's spelled Zurdo, sounds like a magician. Here comes the famous Zurdo. Can't do shit with his right hand. Yeah. Trying to come up with a name for this mini that is one of the rare left-handed ones I've seen. So far, I'm leaning towards Canhoto. 1 hour skirmish is a catch-all game. Use a handful of miniatures that you've probably been sitting on a decade. First came across Sable, a documentary about Airfix about 5 years ago. Described my situation perfectly. I'm not in any danger zone because anytime I collect things more than I should have. Well, first of all, I have a lot less than most of you guys. But in other words, it's more in control than most people. And second of all, I only collect one thing at a time. So like if I'm in this mode, I don't care what kind of tanks come out. I'm not going to buy any. One of the reasons for me not to go to the game convention was that I wouldn't go to the flea market and buy more tanks that I had no interest in working on at the moment. You know? Canhoto is Portuguese for left-handed, apparently. I don't know. That's for you guys to figure out. They're your big ally. That language drives me crazy. Because anybody I've ever encountered that speaks Portuguese, and it's usually somebody from Brazil, because the reality is like for every person that's in Portugal, and I'm spitballing here. For every person that's in Portugal, there's probably 30 in Brazil. Let's see if I got that right. It's probably more like 15. Let's guess here. Oh, you sent me a photo. What'd you send me? That guy's Spanish? Well, I guess so. That's got to be Don somebody, okay? That's got to be a Don. I mean, he's wearing white. That's a fancy dressed guy. I mean, he's got a kerchief. That's Don somebody. Yeah, I got to stop saying things like that because I could just feel something percolating in me, and it's not that like if I ever got into conquistadors, I have a fucking field day with that. And they make them. Luckily, they make them in 28 millimeter, so I'm safe. And you'd have to paint a shitload of Aztecs. And I'm not opposed to painting Aztecs. They'd be a lot of fun to paint, but that's a lot of them. I probably would have already had an Aztec army in DBA if I didn't know multiple people that bought an Aztec army pre-painted. He's supposed to be Brazilian. Well, there you go. If I had a name a Brazilian character, I would make sure he had a name that you would immediately recognize as Brazilian. So if I don't know what Don is in Portuguese. It should be the same thing, but who knows if it is. But, if it was like Mendez, he'd be, Mendez ending in an S. Or, You do family board games, war games, and miniatures. I have a shelf of assorted rule books. He came from Cobblestone in some Explorers of the Amazon pack. Add Enol to the end like footballer. Maybe. Maybe. What is he supposed to be? A gunfighter or an explorer? Man, you're getting me excited here. Okay. Not using chat. Name of Brazilian explorers. And I would want him to have a Portuguese name. I know in South America there's a lot of people that have Spanish or Portuguese names. I would avoid those. Sydney Pucello. Borbagato. That sounds like... I wouldn't use a name I already used. I'd just combine a couple different things. Some sort of villain who bounces around the Portuguese Empire so he could show up in Africa, China, India, etc. Why has he got to be a villain? Somebody paints one Portuguese figure and he's a villain. What does that make you think? You think Portuguese are all villains? Yeah, the problem with Portuguese for me is if somebody speaks it to me, it's like Italian. Like I can read Italian, I can really read Portuguese, right? I can read Italian okay-ish. Nah, I really can't. But I can kind of make out what they're trying to say. But if they speak it, because the meter and the it's just in a different way that I would normally recognize. Like I don't know what the hell they're saying about. Like they pronounce things in Portuguese, even though it looks similar. It's like I don't even know what I'm making out. I just haven't been exposed that much. Of course, he's a bad guy. He's left-handed. Yes, yes, excellent. There weren't left-handed people in school. Was Hitler left-handed? Every boss I've had has been left-handed. It wasn't, when I grew up, it wasn't an option. I think that if I started writing with my left hand, my parents probably would have beat me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with me being left-handed or anything wrong with beating somebody because they're left. We don't want to upset everybody. We're just going to try the middle ground. It just didn't happen. You'd be in a classroom of like 30 kids. There'd have one or two desks that would have that, the desk that had the built-in, like you were going to take a nap or whatever. That was on the left-hand side, and then you had to get like creative how you were going to write with it. I mean, it wasn't that difficult, but and there was never anybody left-handed in there. Was Hitler left-handed? I don't know. Why does every bad guy have to be like Hitler? He should have just stuck to being a painter. That's the one thing that I stick up for Hitler on. What did you just say? I said he wasn't that bad of a painter. Oh, well, he just wasn't inspiring. Well, it's better than, the manure throwings of, like, Pollock or, like, Picasso's, bullshit that he did, right? The compromise, they beat you only with their left hands. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt that much, right? It wouldn't have any. I mean, I don't know grip strength. I mean, I've got to say, I probably have a third the grip strength in my left hand than my right. But I'd never wear my watch on my right hand. What else would I wouldn't do? What else wouldn't I do? Wouldn't wear my wedding ring on my right hand. If I have to do something while I'm on a bike, and I hold I'm holding the what do you call it, the handlebar and the handbrake with one hand, it's going to be a left one. I drive one-handed with my left hand because we're shifting with the other one. Even if I wasn't shifting. What else? That may be it. Colloquially, I would call someone who's left-handed in Spanish as an izquierdista. Like if I was talking to my mom, oh, that guy's an izquierdista. The double entendre, He's a leftist and he's also a lefty, Not that all left-handed people are leftists. Oh, we're doing something with our left hand. Imagine that. And I'm right-eyed. Right-handed and right-eyed. But if you're going to draw my blood, I'd rather you draw it on my left hand. Which, by the way, how did they do? They did all right. And one of them annual things. One of these days, I'm going to find a doctor that you go to and they don't like. It seems like every doctor is like always like. They probably heard it all. I'm like, I'm paying you, man. I'm the fucking customer. Now, people that say they hate going to the dentist, I have no problem going to the dentist. Because I get a fucking gold star every time I go to the dentist. Go to the doctor. Hey, there's this. You should be doing that. You're too fat. You need to exercise more. All that kind of crap. I don't get that at the dentist. Like. Your teeth are falling apart. I don't get any of that stuff. I have good teeth. I've been looking up Portuguese expressions. Unfortunately, they all seem too Spanish. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have if you're going to have another language, make it sound a little different. Lince do patan, but I don't even know what that little thing over the A means. It's best to have found wildcat since he pounces. Lince. Yeah, lince is the same thing. A lynx. Yeah. The most thing I would do with with the Portuguese. Oh, no, that's not true. I actually had a faction for my Africa campaign that would have been Portuguese. I would have used Portuguese figures for. Africa meaning, the imaginations from the 1960s and 70s. And those guys wouldn't speak Portuguese. They'd speak Esperanto. Because Esperanto is kind of like Portuguese-ish, right? I guess. I mean, it sounds like Portuguese. Esperanto sounds Portuguese to me. That's what I meant. It would have been Portuguese Esperanto. One thing that I really don't like about Portugal. Here we go. No, it's not their fault. It's just like it's like when I pick on people for like the U.S. tankers uniform. It's not their fault. The tankers didn't get to design their own uniforms. Is their flag? The Portuguese flag sucks. Sorry. Why? The red and green shouldn't be touching. It looks weird. Those rules of heraldry. You can't just throw them out of, you can't just have colors touch each other on a flag. You should get thrown out of Western Europe if that's how you're going to be. Now, what's super cool is the Portuguese Air Force symbols, that cross that they have. That's badass. That looks awesome. That should be on their flag. Yeah, the Portuguese flag looks like ass. Not because of it's the red and the green you shouldn't be touching. It looks like it just shouldn't be touching. The crest, awesome. Okay? Portuguese Air Force. I think they still use it. It's the one of Avis, I believe, is the knightly order. Maybe they don't use it anymore. Yeah, here it is. This is awesome. Let's get it bigger. I love that. Should put that everywhere. That should be your flag. Might offend people. No, get the fuck out then. I think that is a great stylized cross. So I don't have a problem with red or green. There should be something between them. It's irksome. That's why the modern Russian flag looks terrible, other than it's boring. The red and the blue shouldn't touch. They didn't read the manual. And I don't know why they made that rule, but man, that just makes sense. Yeah, that's why my rednecks have to have white between the red and the blue. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Which, speaking of not being able to sleep at night, I did not have a good night's sleep. I went to bed super early. Or I attempted to go to bed. Well, I did go to bed. The problem is I didn't go to sleep. I went to bed about 9:30. And then I think I fell asleep for a little while. And then I woke back up around midnight and almost did a painting session at midnight. And then I finally fell asleep again. But that's because I had coffee at night. I wasn't jittery. It was just there's enough energy in you. You couldn't You couldn't stand down. The Portuguese 18th century merchant flag is something else. It sort of dazzles you as you look at it. Oh, I gotta look at it in a second. But the Portuguese medieval flag is great. It's just the modern one that's, you know. Just seems weird, like they're siding with Morocco or something. Like, keep it on this side of the straits. Portuguese 18th century what? Merchant flag, okay? Portuguese 18th century merchant flag. And you know what's really fucked up? If I remember correctly, the Mexican flag doesn't look like the Italian flag. It's the other way around. The Mexican flag came about first. That is whacked. That is really, really whacked. You're not talking about this, are you? That's horrendous. That's like, it looks like gay Hawaii. It just looks terrible. That looks terrible. The flag of Portuñol, or a mixture of Portuguese and what? And Spanish. No, it's not. There's no yellow there. It is in Spanish without yellow. Yeah, I came across that. I'm like, no. No. Maybe a mixture of like, I don't even know what that is. Oh, now we're getting into these fake flags. I came across one here that looked good. This thing. Former merchant flag of Portugal. This looks good. That looks good. I like that. That looks really nice. Portuguese flags. Here we go. Let's go to this one. It has all of them throughout the years. And I'll tell you where everything went wrong. It went wrong in 1911. Whatever the fuck happened there. It all went to shit. These up here with the little shields and the little castles on it, absolutely. Castles, shields, swords, lions, eagles, all that kind of stuff is, you know, big fan of all that stuff. Looks like someone misplaced a cross in Word and they just went with it. Yeah, that one with the stripes looks good. The green and white stripes, which is the flag of Andalusia. Which makes sense because green is kind of a Muslim color in a way. It has, I mean, they don't own it, but it definitely has that underlayer, you know. And since that's the area that they were in the latest, it makes sense that it would have that. It's nice, you know. Okay, right. What else goes in this ugly ass color? I think I'm going to make the body of the machine gun in that color, at least some of it, so it's not just this metal thing sitting on top of this. Yeah, and see, I'm already rubbing some of it off because I just lightly painted it. And it's fine. It's going to get all muddied up. It's not that big of a deal. You got any of this left? I was surprised how thick this color is. Yeah, this is guaranteed. I got this around 2001, 2002 from Brookhurst Hobbies. And it was probably sitting on a shelf ever since they got it from Barcelona. Barcelona. All right. Obviously, not the whole barrel is going to be tied into that. I think. Yeah, if I rub this stuff off the wheels, I rub this stuff off the wheels. It doesn't matter. To at least make this housing. That color. And obviously it'll be, weathered and things of that nature. I'm going to go all the way to here. For sure. Let's look at it and see if we want more than that. No. I think I'm happy with that. Okay, this launcher. I think I'm going to paint the launcher also in this color. Let's use a bigger brush though, so we can get done this month. I don't know if that's really any bigger. Well, I'm not worried about the paint coming off of the wheels because I'm probably going to rub a lot of it off anyways when I go and paint the weathering. But at least I don't want to look at that another color there. It kind of gives me an inkling of how it's all kind of turning out. It looks like it's fucking. You know what this looks like? It looks like if Ryobi made a Mustang, this is what it would look like. It's freaking Ryobi colored. If you know, you know. It's Ryobi green. Or Ryobi yellow. I would call this more. That'd be a hard decision whether I would just call this a yellow or a green. If I have to pick one over the other, I think I'd call it a yellow. It's Ryobi. You guys probably don't have Ryobi in the UK. Maybe you do. They're tools. They're like, and they're almost all battery powered, rechargeable. And they're just like this. It's hard to lose color. PPE yellow. We're gonna leave the launcher outside, I think, in metal color. Certainly the inside, or just get scraped up. What's the point? Got a little bit of glue right there for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, I'd go to the flea market, but it's just by the time you go there, it's like 20 miles away and 20 miles back. And I'm like, it's honestly kind of depressing. Not the drive, but, you know, when you get there, like, oh, I came all the way for this? All right, let's get some metallic colors here. I don't think I'm going to use... Yeah, I don't think I'm going to use the 10 bits. We're just going to... Oh, my nemesis. That color. My nemesis. I thought I had another one of these. The one that leaks like a... I do. I wonder if this one's in here because Iron Warriors. Yeah. The leakiest color of all. All right, let's get something that... Something like that. Hold this as an angle so we don't hit the window underneath. And that's where you get into trouble. If you're like, oh, let me go on a trip to see what they have there. And then they don't have much. You're like, well, I got to get something because otherwise I didn't make this trip for nothing. And that's where they get you. The place that has actually had a really bad car selection, I don't go there very often, is Target. Target doesn't have, like, I don't think I've found much of anything in Target. But, you know, once you've picked up everything they've released for the year, there's no point even looking at a place that has the modern vehicles or the ones that are coming out now because they're not going to have anything for you. You know, it's like the Matchbox. Like, I think I've seen everything that Matchbox has come out with in 2026. And maybe even 2025. I'm not knocking my Matchbox. You know, in some ways they're better than... I mean, the body of this thing is a piece of shit, you know. It's got a Hot Wheels bottom, but in some ways Matchbox are better than Hot Wheels. In some ways they're not. But I think of them as equals. So they're now actually owned by the same company. Or maybe it's been for a while. They're both Mattels. Wonder if they'll ever stop making toy cars at some point. They're like, kids don't play with toys anymore. They just They put some media in front of their face and they get babysat by it. We'll have AI babysit them. All right, now we need to get the meshes on the front window. Now with this color scheme, I could actually probably overpaint the mesh in red and actually look okay because there's a red stripe that gets still tied in together. I don't think I'll do that, but all right. I'm gonna take a small break. I gotta put something in my mouth. Don't go there. I haven't eaten anything, so and I'm starting to feel it. So I'll be right back in about 5 minutes. Okay. So I was not feeling well. Well, I was not feeling well. I was just like, that reminds me, I probably need to take my pills. So I'll turn into a werewolf. Multi and 3 blood pressure things. Okay. So we don't have an episode. All right. We got some metallicization here on the bottom of this, and we may actually end up painting some of this in this annoying green at some point, but I don't know that yet. Man, I thought this was going to be an easy paint job. It's, it's taken a while. Sludge thrower. That little bomb's probably going to be brown or something. Here, have a brown out. That's going to be metallic as well. Yeah, what am I looking at? Okay, the bomb has these little feet too. Well, let's do it all metallic. And then we can put the paint over it. What we want to repaint over. Okay, this looks good on this side. The front looks good. That little line ends up being black. Worry about the tail lights and headlamps later. Okay, I think the next logical step is black lighting. Probably going to make a pretty some difference here. It's not going to be huge because there's not that many nooks and crannies, but all right, let's get something we can count on. Nope, ain't that. That one's too nice. We got to save that one for something else. Guess probably a handy place would be to have it right here, but that won't work. Once we trim it. Okay, let's try that. Dark tone. At this point, I'm like, I'm painting these guys for therapy. I'm like, I'm in no need for any of these right now. But I'll do it and I'll feel better about it. And that's why I'm doing it. I think we found out this is a Road Champs Yakming or something like that. It's kind of hard to find off-brand cars now. You go to a store and it's like they're either Hot Wheels or Matchbox, and rarely anything other than those two. They cost the same. So, as if you found something, the Walmart brand, whatever it's called. No, that's not Walmart brand. The Mastos. The Mastos are definitely not on the same quality. They got really bad wheels generally. Wheels that aren't like solid, they're almost like hollow from the backside. Fresh metal. Masto fresh metal. They cost the same as, Hot Wheels and, and the Matchbox cars. We still on? Just put you guys to sleep. Hey, whatever works. Everybody working on their own shit. I don't blame them. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. Working on my own shit. I think I may be following the wrong contour line on that. Sometimes you gotta draw things in that they decided not to put on it. You settle for a name on that guy? No, I'm not following the wrong line. Okay. Does come over at that angle like that. Okay. This isn't gonna like really shine until we weather it. That's gonna be like the crowning achievement. It just makes a big difference. Always does. Always makes a big difference. Think you'll go with Canoto for a while. I just saw a foundry do Mexican knife-wielding peons. Make excellent, free, loyal, and capable servants for him. The guys that are from their Old West set, or maybe even the Maximilian Adventure stuff, they look great. I mean, I remember when they came out with those. They were on the miniatures page. I was like, these guys look great. Are those cobblestone castings? The style certainly looks like that. Yeah, those little guys look great. Why'd you say they're little? Well, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Who you calling the little Mexican? The little Mexican? I'll let you go! Let's get a heavier duty line going. There's things that the paint department left off that need to be on here. Yeah, those cobblestone figures are awesome. My kind of style. Love them. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe because they paid the guy and they feel like they should do with his figures whatever the damn well please. I could see their point, but it's sometimes hard to find out that who the sculptor is for something. I mean, unless you recognize who they are by their styling. I mean, that's part of the contract. We'll pay you for these figures, but there are figures. We paid you for them. You're just kind of a you're there for us kind of thing. All right, I think it's high time to weather this thing. Oh man, he said it's high time. Dude. Okay, well, you know the usual suspects. Put this over here and put the colors over on the left. Kind of harder to get them all over me if they're on the left side. Unless all of a sudden I convert to being left-handed. We got a long way to go for that. I'm actually going to go one. No, I'll mix it on here. I won't use the German camo. Oh, maybe I will use the German camo black. Where is old German camo black or whatever the hell they want to call themselves now? Nope, that's just black. Nope, that's the tin bits. There it is. It already looks better than it did this morning. Painting that little line across the bottom of it in black helped a lot. All right, let's get something that we're going to abuse. Oh, does that mean you're out for a walk? I guess that means you're out for a walk. Oh, that's not going to work. This has so many flyaways. They're going to get in the way of everything. I wonder if I could trim those and move forward with it. I'm going to have to trash this brush. Out walking Odago. Still didn't get an answer on who the hell makes Odago. I don't think I will. I don't think anybody knows. I mean, I've gotten other suggestions like, okay, no, it's not that, but I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't want to get in an argument with people. I'm pretty sure that I bought it from a flea market. So who knows what the hell it is. It's probably somebody that's either probably a figure that's not made anymore, or it's by a manufacturer that didn't like take photos of their stuff. You just got back from a dog. Oh, you got back from a dog walk too. Well, I know that Ben changes his handle depending on whether or not he's on the mobile or the computer. You failed the exam. No, we're talking about we're talking about my I don't know what we were talking about the other day, and ended up the Odago came up, which of course is my Irish wolfhound looking thing that's on my light horse stand for my Irish. And just trying to figure out what casting it was. I'm pretty sure the casting I got was off of a flea market. I've never seen a picture of it. I even did a Google image search on it. Nothing. I'm pretty sure I got it, at a flea market at Historicon. Something like that. You did say it was Thistle and Rose during the Wolf unboxing, but I don't know that range well enough. Was it? Okay, well, there's no pictures of them online. And their stuff is kind of a mixed bag. Some of their stuff's pretty excellent. Some of it is just rustic is probably the correct way to say. They still paint up okay, but they're just a little rustic. Okay, then it's Thistle and Rose. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's harder to run a miniatures company than to take pictures of your stuff and put it online. I mean, I guess, it takes time, but you want people to buy your things, you need to see what they look like. That's got to be an old video. Well, I'd probably trust whatever the hell I said back then. Why, are you a bigger liar now? No, I just don't remember things that aren't, important. So a regular is out of business. No more orders from a regular. I thought it might have been a regular, but the guys that took over Thistle and Rose, I don't know if they took them all the moles over, but here in the States, they used to go to Historicon, and one of the conventions they gave away like a bunch of figures. And, some people were like, "Oh, those aren't the best figures available. I don't want them." And I'm like, I like turning, I don't want to say substandard, but stuff that doesn't excite people into something that has excitement. I get a thrill out of that. I've been pretty successful doing that, and it's very empowering. Okay, that is that color, which is one color darker than I normally use. Now we'll do chocolate brown. And see how we have a little bit of the green left there? I'd like to keep about that much green on the wheels. I'd like to. If it ends up that we cover it over it, well, we cover it over it. But think I need another coffee. Another iced coffee. Another beautiful, non-dreary day here. Neighbor's out watering his lawn, something I don't do. And I thought it was bullshit. I thought it was bullshit to say like you shouldn't plant like grass is difficult to deal with, and I'm like, well, that's what the house came with. Like I can't do anything about that. But this house didn't come with any like fancy grass. I mean, there's grass here, but it isn't fancy, and it's not really like full of bald spots. It just kind of is. And I've never lived in a house or on a property that's so freaking hard. Like the ground is really hard here, almost like there's lime rock or something underneath it. But it's almost perfectly flat. So it rains, there's not any puddles or anything. And this drought that we've had hasn't really affected the grass at all. Because we didn't like bring grass that wasn't here already here. I don't know, so there's something to be said for that. I mean, hey, it looks pretty decent. It's not like it's, looks like a golf course, but. Come on. Bring me the coffee! Well, I can't promise that when I go shopping today, at the places I normally do, that I won't pick up any cars. But I'm not going to do that. They're going to have to find me, All right. Next color. No, I thought of you were talking about your Brazilian guy. It'd be really funny if you called country people, like people that were out in the country. Why aren't they called? I thought about it. What are they called? Hispanics. Hispanics would be like Spanish-speaking rednecks. Hispanics. It's funny. I didn't even remember that wolf video. You know, I've done thousands of videos, so I don't remember. Wasn't that memorable. I'm glad someone rewatched it again. There we go. Let's get. Could make it like. I don't know that I want to change the color on it, but you could make it like some clay-like color. You know what I'm talking about, like that Georgia clay. Or, do they have that in Virginia? I bet they do. They always call it Georgia clay. Alabama's filled with that, like red clay. I know this doesn't look like it's turning out really well right now, but I'm pretty sure it will. I mean, it's supposed to look filthy and disheveled. A disheveled looking vehicle. And again, I'm painting this the opposite. If you were going to paint this realistically, these lighter colors should be stuck inside the wheel treads. But when you're looking at it, I'm telling you, the human eye, it looks wrong. It's the same thing like when you're talking about that flag. Why is the red and the green touching? Why is there a recess that's a lighter color than the outside? You know, like, it just messes with me. So I can't go there. You know, like when you're painting, you know, if I'm painting like a wall, like a French cafe, right? And it's made of brick. I can't have the lines between the brick lighter than the outside of the brick. I can't. It looks wrong. That's the base muster of Mountland, Virginia. Red clay. Man, that stuff's a mess when it frickin' rains, isn't it? Like frickin' soap. Is it really bad for stuff? I feel like it isn't. Like, I feel like, you know, living on a lime rock road would be worse. I feel like the red clay, like, it would be really bad. Like, if you leave it on your vehicle, it just get caked on like a mud dauber, you know? That's that stuff that, like, poor people used to eat. I'm not making that shit up. Like, people that eat clay. I'm not saying you're people. I'm just saying that, you know, I've heard of it. Marcus, you weren't on here before, but when I mentioned this, I'm pretty sure. But that's the thing about redneck people, okay? If I showed this car, if I showed these cars to, you know, true rednecks, I'm not talking you, okay? You got a lot to work on to be a true redneck. Sorry, you're not even close, pal. Try harder. They would be like, they'd love this shit. I mean, you know. Well, here's the reality. I like all of them. I mean, there's every one of these I'd be like excited to play with. Every single car and every single team. You know, even the construction. That's the team I would dislike the most. The construction vehicles. Like, oh great, I gotta see those fucking things, you know, on my time off. Nope, I like them. It's hard to grow things, not good garden land. You just speak redneck. Well, as long as you don't type it in emails, you're fine. I don't type it in emails. But yes, I do my redneckism sometimes. I always try to find those redneck sayings too, like it's raining like a cow pissing on a flat rock. That's more fucked up than Hogan's goat. Or my favorite one. You'd sooner stick a noodle up a wildcat's ass than mess with me. I didn't make that up. It'd probably be funnier if I made it up. Redneck people don't care. Like I said, you know how you tell somebody's a Yankee? This truly works. And I came up with this on my own. Call him one. And if he doesn't mind, he's a Yankee. You're a Yankee. Whatever. Guy's a Yankee, right? Nobody from the South would put up with that shit. Right or wrong. Hey, I don't write the rules. I just observe and take notes. Does this thing have a shotgun or something like that? Nah, we've moved on. So what does this thing have? Oh, he's on the other page. No. He's more nervous than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. I've not heard that one. I mean, I could totally picture that, but... I need a car that I'm going to call Hogan's Goat. And it'll be really fucked up, right? You say, that's more fucked up than Hogan's Goat. There's your car. It's got to be lifted. Hogan's Goat. Something like this. I almost need to take this thing apart and put like big old Kanabi tires on it. You know, I had never seen Smokey and the Bandit, ever. And I saw it like 2 weeks ago. I was expecting it to be, for inspiration for this. It wasn't really inspiring, but, And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was expecting it to be much worse. Much shittier, But I do have, you get a kick out of this. Maybe. The cars from my youth. This one was painted red for whatever reason. Some of these are my brother's cars. They're not mine. I'm not sure whether this one's mine or not. I love this Jeep. This is the Jeep that I used for my 8th Army guys. Those figures that I painted 2 years ago or a year ago or whatever, that I've had since like 1981, this was like their command vehicle. Why? Well, because it's a desert color, and it's a Jeep, and, that's all you have. I mean, yeah, it's a 1970s Toyota. But I got that one, and I got the, where's the Bandit? It has the roof crushed on it. So I think, and this is how this one came. This is the Dukes of Hazzard car, but even back then in doesn't say, this is a Yacht Ming. This has got to be from like 79, 80, 81, something like that. It said Charger America on it. It had red paint over it. It says Charger America. So I'm probably going to put the flag on the top. The redneck flag on it. And it's not going to be the General Lee. The General Lee, if I called a car the General Lee, it'd be a Chinese car. Oh, General Lee. Now this will be some other, something else. And it might have, it's probably going to have knobby tires on it or something like that. But we'll have these two. They're going to be, rivals or butt buddies or something like that. Maybe not butt buddies, but they'll be, part of the same family. They're each other's cousin or something. But this one's so damn dinged up. It's going to have a lot of rust on it. So, Buford T. Justice. Man, some of the stuff that he said, I laughed out loud and I was watching it alone. It was pretty funny. I actually stopped. I got about an hour into the movie And I'm like, okay, I told the daughter, I said, you got to watch this. There's some merit to watching some of this stuff. And it was pretty funny. The second one, I've watched about half of it. My daughter didn't want to watch another one. Because my daughter liked it for the car stunts. Because, back then, it's like real car stunts. Like some jackass is having to drive that way, right? There's no AI or nothing. And she didn't want to watch the second one. It's a good thing because it's probably one of the worst, if not the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. The second one. Because not only is the acting bad, the plot is bad, it's full of loopholes, it's like mishmash together in a, it's like, I'll finish it, but, and I've never seen Cannonball Run. No, I'm having fun with this. Take him some trips down Americana Lane. It's just funny to think all these muscle cars, and you go and you look, and every time I found out about a car, I'm always interested in, like, okay, what kind of engine did it have? How fast is it 0 to 60? What are just, it's historical. I mean, that sounds stupid, but it kind of is. Like, it's not like it's just some make-believe spacecraft. Like, it's based on something. And it's just funny how fast they thought some of these cars were compared to modern standings. And it's like, my little rice burner, leave them in the dust. But, the little rice burners from that time period had no umph at all. I mean, they were like, very, 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 very slow. Rice burner, yeah, it runs on sake. A redneck saying that can get used at work. You're fucking this dog, I'm just holding its head. Oh, now this thing unlocked now, finally. Not my circus, not my monkeys. That sounds almost like one of those. That's one my wife has used before. There's dog fuckers in the UK? Oh, you learn something new every day. I thought it was just sheep. I gotta do a French car soon. I gotta do a French car soon. And by do, I mean like I already have them. It's not like I gotta go searching for one. Hi, everyone got stream on airbrushing. Do you mean, is there anyone that has a stream on airbrushing? Or are you putting one out, Lee? General Lee, yeah, there you go. It's your car. You got promoted to general. And airbrushing is just like almost as hard as learning how to play DVA. Almost as hard as that. Okay, this thing is bright as hell. Okay, we haven't done the drippings yet. Let's add more of this Iraqi sand all over. I try not to do any airbrushing without it being filmed. I don't know. I may say something of value. It may happen one day. I may say something that makes sense to someone. It's really frustrating because I consider myself like a really experienced painter, and airbrushing is a totally different animal. But I clear coated this guy in an enamel spray, and I think that's what I'm going to go to. I'm going to clear coat the flat matte, the stage where I want to get the brown to attach in enamel. I'm just going to do that. It wasn't too stinky, you know. Wasn't too stinky. Man, this is just so neonic. All right. So we still got the lights and stuff to do. It'll turn out just fine. Let's do the tie-in. Okay, the tie-in is going to be put some of this color and we're going to overbrush this lightly. Or should I use red? A little bit of red on the... Red. Red. Red's better. What red? Scarlet. And don't call me Scarlet. Right? Or Bermelon. This one. Scarlet. And I think I'm going to tone down that scarlet just a little bit. Now, this could look like ass, but I don't think it needs more of this. And there's red in the stripe, and I don't want to use white, so. And we want to make it look like it's worn out. A little bit of water. I speak redneck too. Do they have Walmarts in Europe? I want to say they didn't have them in Spain. I'm sure they have an equivalent. It's just not that. That store went to hell when the old man died. But I think when he passed away, Kmart was still around. So, you always have the lowest common denominator for, troublemakers to go. I remember as a kid, and I don't know that I ever got it, because I certainly was not one of those kids that got everything I wanted. An icy. Kmart always had ices. Remember how that little station that would have ices? No, ices you couldn't just get them anywhere. I think they're a lot more available now than they used to be. Not that I could tell you when the last time I had one. Full of sugar and stuff. Like, I don't want to drink sugar. We have a few dotted around, but I think they all got absorbed into UK branded stores. You have Costco's now. Do they do the membership thing? See, I don't really like that idea of the Costco. You know, you gotta prepay for a membership, and then when you get the membership, then then you're allowed to shop here. That just seems a little too like, just too much drama for me. Not a fan of that. I'm actually gonna leave the window bracing in natural metal color on this, I think. I think. And you know what? I'm actually going to paint the frame of this in red. The frame of this. So that way that red isn't just standing out there like, hey, look at me. Like, yo, what are you doing here, man? You don't go with anything else. Now, there's got to be like a British equivalent of Walmart, whatever the hell it is. Australia still has Kmart's, so I heard. No, I've never seen Smokey the Bandit. I've never watched Starsky and Hutch before my time. Only show from the '70s that I used to watch all the time, and I mentioned this the other day, was the Battle of the Planets cartoon show, Johnny Quest. I mean, that I like to watch. I mean, I watched like the fucking Flintstones, but I didn't give a shit about it. What was the other thing? Oh, $6 Million Man. $6 Million Man was a popular show. Dukes of Hazzard was stupid. It was a little too rednecky. Like I said, those people had way too much hair. Saw a picture of one of them. Which one was it? The blonde-haired one? What was he? Bo? Yeah, Bo. He's wearing a cowboy hat. The cowboy hat's not sitting on his head. It's sitting on like a mound of hair that he has. It's like, holy, what in the poodle is going on here? Yeah, you know what? I think adding the red ties into the Disgustang name a little bit more. So that probably was an unintentional like thing. Yeah, it goes back to the whole, paint what you know. I don't know what color I'm going to paint his pants. Well, you know what shirt color you're going to paint his shirt? Yeah, so paint that. You sure you want his shirt a certain color? Yeah, go ahead and paint what you know. And you'll make it up as you go. Hey, there you go. Paint what you know and make it up as you go. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Rhyme on a dime. All right, now as I like to say, let me step away from it. Hold on, I don't think we're done with this. And I gotta use the little boy's room. Everything I drink is either tea or coffee, so, you know. Well, I mean, I can hold it, but why? And we're gonna have to go in there and dust that up some. But I think that's looking a heck of a lot better. Now, compared to YOLO Pony is really subtle colored. I'll take things I never thought I was going to say for 1,000, please. YOLO Pony is super subtle. That's that earlier style Mustang that I'm not really a fan of. What year is it? 67. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of. Okay, I'll be right back. Well, I just found out something last night that's kind of some disturbing news. And that is there's a new Forza Horizon around the corner. And it's in Japan. I think I'll be able to resist. But man, Japanese, I mean, there's already Japanese cars in the game, but that's got me written all over it. This definitely needs some other tones, on it. The eyesore from Mysore. I gotta have a vehicle. It's called. I gotta have some Indian vehicle called that. The eyesore from Mysore. You think I can get away with doing a jeepney? Think I could turn the jeepney and make it Hindu? I don't really want to start getting Philippine. I don't really want a Philippine team. No offense to the Filipinos, just there's just not enough there. Can I make a jeepney and make it for India?
You can build a jeepney.
Oh, hold on a second. Shut up. Oh, there's a Wikipedia article. Let's see if it tells me everything I need to know. No, it's Filipino only. Damn it. Well, maybe mine won't be. Maybe I will make it Filipino. All right, folks, got to run. Have a great day. You too, man. Maybe I will make it Filipino. That would be kind of fun to do. It's going to have flip in the name. Sorry. Flipping out. I mean, there's only going to be one Filipino vehicle. That one. Unfortunately, it's like open, so I need like a crew. Flip flop. I don't know what's going on with the front lights, but that it just doesn't look. I'm gonna have to work with that. Man, it sure is bright. But it needs to be disgusting looking. Disgusting. Maybe we'll do let's do the drippings first. All right. Light tone, mid brown, soft tone. You guys got my curiosity now, all right? Got my own curiosity. Has it got the Virgin Mary or something on the side of it? They're kind of cool. I mean, I don't want to ride in one or drive one. That's kind of cool. All right. Now I gotta check something out. Having trouble every time I go into this place. Oh, here it is. Okay, Gaslands. I want to build a jeepney for Gaslands for a Filipino driver. Please give me some ideas for names that a jeepney would have in Gaslands. It almost always recites back what you correctly. Manila Mayhem. That's fucking great. Manila Mayhem is a great name. Mabuhay or Die, whatever that is. Barangay Brawler. King of the Cansalda. Cansalda means street. Jeepney Jihad. Maybe not for Filipino. Avoid, perhaps. That's what it says. Yeah, we're not bringing jihad to this game. The Manila Mangler, that's not bad either. Gotta have a ram on it. Lumpia Launcher. Well, that's if it had like something on there. Yeah, Lumpia Launcher. I want Manila in the name. Definitely want Manila in the name. Pick a name that has Manila in the name. Manila Manslaughter. That's not bad either. Hold on. What's the other island? Luzon. Luzon's the big island. No, the big one, Mindanao. The Mindanao Mangler. Although I think Mindanao's not super built out. Of course, what the fuck do I know? Mindanao Mangler wouldn't be bad. Cool. Shit, I might just do that next. I'm gonna have to repaint it though. It's got like Hindu like colors that. Nothing wrong with them. It just reminds me of like India. And it's not that I'm going to get India and the Philippines mixed up. I don't want them to look similar. All right, let's do what we're going to do. We're doing the drippings. That was light tone. The Manila Mangler. Definitely have a ram on that bastard. Man, the Philippine flag is a pain in the ass to paint, isn't it? It's got like a weird star or something like that. I mean, I could do it. You just got to paint it once on somewhere. Philip. Is it 2 L's or 2 P's? 1 L, 2 P's. Nah, I could do that. I could do that. I could totally do that. Where's what's his face? Where's Hoffman? Hoffman's been to the Philippines, or Hoffman said he's been to the Philippines. Shit, let's pull that out. Oh, I'm sidetracking myself. It's all good. It's all fun. I really wanted to do one of these. Well, I'm going to do one of them. A bus has 8 crew. I want to double the crew to 16. But it'd be so expensive. I might still do it. I got lots of Land Rovers. I think some of them are going to be Indian. Aren't they made over there now? I think Land Rovers are made over in India now. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I believe the jeepney is on a card. And he's probably over in free agent land. Nope. Nope. It's one I got recently. Oh, here's another cop. Here's an old school cop. Let's put those two guys together. Oh, this is gonna need new time. Oh, we need new shit in here. It's gonna get repainted. It's gonna need new wheels. Take that out. Probably put mesh across the top. Road Bandit. Definitely gonna have some corrugated stuff on there. Okay. Good. Let's put that guy out there. Yeah, this last sort that I did worked really well. I can find things really quickly. All right, the colors. Six folks, man, you guys are being quiet. That's fine. You're working on your hobby. Found some kind of merit to this. Hey, look at this lunatic. Might actually be a little too thick of a brush for this. Where's the orange one? I don't think I put any of that one down. What's up, man? I know, it's beautiful weather there. Yeah, whatever. Hey, it's the weekend. I can get away from the heat. Actually, all my problems at work, heat's probably the least of them. And I don't like the heat. But, you know, it is what it is. Thunderstorms. You know, that's one thing that nobody ever complains about. Like, people complain like it's hot or it's snowing or, you know, whatever. But nobody says, you know, we haven't had lightning in a while. Good! We don't need lightning for shit. You know? Lightning's like a bad idea. And I had a superstitious mom that scared the shit out of me. I won't take a shower if it's freaking raining, if it's lightning. I can't do it, man. I do not mess with lightning. And I haven't had a bad experience with it. You like thunderstorms? You see a shrink, man. I can see liking rain. Thunderstorms, no. I mean, there's been multiple times where this is the thunderstorm capital, or Florida is. And I've heard thunderstorms, gotten up in the middle of the night, unplugged all the TVs and shit. Not this, well, it's covered by insurance. No, insurance doesn't pay. I don't care what insurance you have. They're in business not to pay. You know, and I don't need new stuff anyways. I just want my shit to not get fucked up. You know, I'm not like, oh, I hope I get in a car wreck. Why? Because the insurance can buy me a new car. It doesn't work that way. Right? It doesn't work that way. They're in business to see what they can get away with. You love heat lightning at night because we have no light pollution out by me. You don't get any of that Detroit pollution? Light or otherwise? The people around you look down on people that don't drive domestic vehicles because your domestic vehicle production sites are right there. I guess there's a lot. I guess there's a lot of domestic cars that are not made either in Detroit or even in the United States. Like some of the first cars that had those daytime driving lights were the ones that were made in the mid '90s. I want to say it was the mid '90s we started seeing that. They came out of Canada. You'd have all these Canadian cars. I guess you got to do that up there or something. I'm not driving with automatic headlights. Sorry, disabling that shit. You look stupid. You get a headlight out when you need it. No way, too far south. Detroit's 2 hours away. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty far then. What is that? Is that my stomach playing a didgeridoo? Well, we do want this thing disgusting looking, hence the name. Get the strong tone out here. So I'd like to. I'm almost ready to stop, but at this point, it's like, man, we need to just push through and finish this guy. Not because I'm in a hurry, but I'd like to see it finished. Yeah, this thing is looking pretty disgusting. It's in the name. Like one of those cars you see, and you see them occasionally. They obviously park in their yard under a tree, and they hadn't been, I don't think they've ever been washed. Yeah, it's still pretty freaking neonic. Neonic. All right, I'm gonna wait for this wash to dry a little bit, and then we'll do the lights. And I think that'll be about all that needs to be done with it. Maybe tinker with some other things on here, but it's supposed to look kind of ugly. I think that's hence the name Disgustang. All right, folks, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you guys maybe